What's up, guys? Cooking along here. I've got the lower mounting plate now welded on the driver's side, and I started working on notching the frame rail for the coilover clearance. This side was roughly an inch or so, and I found that out by making a mock-up coilover. I'm going to be going with Ride Tech coilovers, and the spring diameter is 3.5 inch on those. So I ended up getting a piece of 3.5 inch pipe, drilling a hole in the center of the little plates I added, and then putting a wooden dowel through it. And I've got marked on here different locations, at ride height, full extension, and that. So with the suspension mocked up, I can use this to basically see where all my clearance is going to be. I can check angles, and using this, I was able to find out that I needed about an inch of clearance here. The other side is going to be a little bit more because I'm going to have to, the frame rail on the other side actually sits, I'm sorry, the cross member sits farther away from the frame rail on the other side because the suspension to be centered is not an equal length between the frame rails. So the other side, the passenger side, is going to probably have to get notched more like 1.5 inches maybe, but it's going to be the same thing. I'll just make the plates, cut the notch, make the plates, and weld them in there. Still have a little piece to make right here, but it's coming along nice so far. And this side's almost done. Really, the only thing left here is to fill in the front section here, add a support plate down to this piece, and then just dress it up with sheet metal, and that's it. This frame rail is done. Alright, so I've got my last little block off plate made for the coilover notch. I have a piece cut out that's going to fill in the gap right here and complete the lower bracket. And the last step is to wire wheel off the paint so I can weld it, and then get this last piece welded in, and that's it. This frame rail is done. So let's get it over with. Alright, last piece of the puzzle. Here it is. This is the plate I made. Got a little 90-degree bend down here, and that's going to sit in there just like that. So let's get it welded up. Alright, so frame rail is done. I added one little gusset that I'll show you guys in a minute. but it's painted now. Cleaned up some of the weld splatter in that, made it look nice, and that's it, I guess. Let me show you guys what's going on here. And I do have my trusty flashlight so that everyone can see what I'm trying to show you. So you can see I filled in, that's one thing that I hadn't done yet. Did the plug welds to attach those two pieces down there. Like I said, it's all painted. Let me see if I can show you the construction I've got going on in this thing. Hopefully you guys can see that. But basically, you got a couple separate pieces going on here. You've got this one here that is the mount for the cross member, which butts up against the main mounting plate. Then you have this piece that's welded to the main box steel frame rail. That has an angled piece of metal that's all welded up to the main plate as well. And then this piece is a separate piece here that also angles down and is welded to the lower mount. So it's a pretty heavy duty setup. I don't see that ever flexing. And again, it's going to be all dressed up and covered up with sheet metal to make it look pretty. But all in all, I think it came out good. I'm happy with it. I'll show you guys this side here. You can see that's just a nice flat plate there. That's where the C4 cross member bolts up to. Yeah, I think it came out good. Okay, let me show you the top side here. So this is the gusset that I added as kind of a last decision here. It looks a little dirty there. Oh well. I noticed that the top section of the main plate there had a little bit of flex. If you grabbed it and really pushed on it, you could just see that it was flexing a little bit. So I added this gusset here. That's a pretty heavy duty piece, and that thing is solid. There is no more movement in that whatsoever. But other than that, pretty much just have to fabricate the mount for the coilovers. Although that's not going to happen until I get the coilovers, obviously. But this thing is done. That side's 100% done. Alright, so that's the frame rail. Other than that, I've probably said this 1,000 times now, but I still have to dress it up with some sheet metal. I'm pumped. I'm pretty happy the structural part's done. And I'm sure that you guys are, or maybe not, maybe you like seeing me suffer, I don't know. But some of you might be getting sick of seeing pretty much every video's, look, we're doing more frame rail work. Oh, look, more frame rail work. But these things are involved, and this is undoubtedly the most important part of this entire swap, is building these frame rails, making sure that they are structurally sound and more or less bulletproof, because everything else is easy stuff. Fitting the rack, doing all that kind of stuff, it's easy. You know, it's got to be strong, but it's not as much of a hazard as making sure these things aren't going to fail on you. And I'm kind of a perfectionist, I guess, so I want them to look nice and factory. Like, I could call this done right now, bolt the cross member up to it, and say, okay, I'm done. But I want it to look nice too, which is why the sheet metal is going to all come in and cover up all the ugly spots. So, anyways, we're getting there. Slowly but surely, it's getting there. And again, thank you guys for following along. Thanks for watching the videos. I'm going to do the same thing over on the passenger side now. And it's going to be exactly what I did on the driver's side, obviously. But I'll take a little bit of video of that. It's not going to be a very involved video because obviously it's going to be the exact same thing that I did on the driver's side. But yeah, trust me, I'm waiting to get to the fun stuff too. I want these frame rails done. Every time I walk into this garage and look at the car, I'm kind of like, oh, yeah, more frame rail work. Great. Probably the same thing you guys do when you see the video. Oh, look, another video on the frame rails. Well, I've got the same thought. So, anyways, I guess that's going to wrap it up for this week. And again, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for supporting the channel. And if you like what you see, subscribe.